Okay, so this lesson was about creating decorative lettering using the word myth. And the first thing I did was get the group round the table and showed them the difference between the lines that can make up lettering. We have natural and we have man-made. So when we talk about natural lines, we're talking about spirals, we're talking about nice flowing lines, we're talking about these types of lines, and I'd say to the group, where would you see these types of lines? And they would say, hopefully, in the sea. And I'd say, okay, so we've got these lovely natural lines, spirals, and you know, they're all very much hand-drawn. We've got the opposite of that, where we've got man-made lines, so human-made. And this is where we might employ the use of a ruler or tools to help us get these sort of more perfected looking types of lines, and we'd say, okay, what type of line is this? Say diagonal, vertical, horizontal. I say, okay, we're going to combine these to make something a bit more imaginative, and we'd say, okay, we've got horizontal, vertical, and we're creating stairs, but humans create or build stairs. These are sort of mathematical shapes that you might find, and this is a castellated line, so you would see this in the top of a castle, and that's sort of tying in with the theme of myth, and the children quite like that. So we could have letters that are completely natural or, you know, completely man-made, but it's actually quite nice to be able to combine the two together, and we'll get something a bit more like this. So if we were to draw a letter M, we start off with the capital M like that, and we can then go in and add extra lines to create thickness of line. We call that quality of line, so we'll have thicker areas and thinner. Also, this idea of this being very man-made, we can start to create something more elegant by adding in the spiral, and then we can taper it in like that. So we can then go inside the letter and we can use man-made from here, or we could use natural from here. And it's just the idea of, you know, opposites coming together to create visual impact. So this would be a little demo that you could do. And then the idea of what we call this is embellishing. So you can use other wee shapes to add fancy bits and little embellishments like that. There's also this kind of thing that you can do as well. The next part of this little demonstration would be maybe showing a word where these little techniques have been employed, and then a really fun bit would be to say we could add what we call dangles and charms. So the dangly bit would be, this would be a natural line coming down, and it could be weighted down at the end with a wee spiral, or you could have a man-made line coming down, and you could have, doesn't need to be something fancy, it could just be a simple shape. And that's good for some children who don't want to make it too fancy. They could keep it simple, or you might have some children that want to take it a bit further and add extra things. I mean, this could almost become like a wee spider or something like that. So that's actually a good way to start your lesson, and then put that to the side. And we're going to produce something that's a bit bigger. So this is A3, it's good quality cartridge paper, and I'll put the link in the materials list. And what I do is I give the group a start. I'll fold the A3 in half, and I use it as a template, and I put it in the middle, and I lightly draw a line at the top and the bottom. If you don't have rulers to hand, you can use the edge of this, and the children quite like using this. It's a wee bit a wee bit different, but just to give you an idea there of how that could be used. Or sometimes it's quite good to use a ruler because it's transparent and you can see where you're going, using that maybe a bit better. So if you're not getting any rulers, this is your plan B. Using the edge of the paper. Okay, so you can see here that we've added extra things on, things like the wing. So I like to go with big shapes and then work in with smaller shapes, like that. I tend to go from the biggest shape to the smallest detail when I'm working. The unicorn horn, we've got the overall shape of the horn there, and then we're going into the sides. I quite like the idea of adding in a halo, so that could take on an angelic theme, or it could go in a completely, any direction really. And I've had some examples where the children have created little worlds, where they've maybe had little doors in the letters and little paths, and then maybe a tree house where this has grown, bark and branches, and then it's a big sort of tree house world. So this is where it's really fun. You're giving the group maybe some starting techniques, and then it's really encouraging them to take that into their own wee worlds and get their creative juices flowing. And there's no mistakes in this. Everything is totally valid. If it doesn't look exactly like mine, that's fine. I am not worried about that at all. So you can see here there's some different examples of embellishing, and we've got the dangles and charms coming down, and a really nice way to finish it off would be, you maybe have some children who are fast finishers and want to go and look at the colouring in pens, and they really enjoyed adding these little sparkly stickers on to make it look really special. So this is probably one of the more final examples. What I would suggest is, if you're putting black pen on, do the colour work first. Hold back the black pens till the end, because if you put black pen down first and then colour, it can smudge. That would be my top tip for this exercise. So that's the decorative lettering lesson.